Okay, good morning, everybody. Today we are going to understand research process, which is a very important topic from exam point of view, and it is also a very important topic when you are doing any kind of research. If you are writing a research paper, research process is important. If you are doing a PhD,
Good
if you are
morning, ma'am.
working on any research report, then also research process is important, right? So we are going to understand the complete process of research in very detail, right? We are going to understand each and every step which is involved in research. We are going to understand in detail that what each step means, right? But before going any further, let us understand that what is the basic objective, what is the learning objective, why we are studying this subject, why we are studying this topic. It is also very important to understand. The first learning objective is to understand the detailed research process, right? So why we are studying this topic, why we are studying any particular kind of a research, right? The process remains the same, whether you belong to social science discipline, you belong to medical science discipline, you belong to any scientific genre, any discipline you belong to, the process, the steps which are involved in the research, they remain same, right? So that's why this research process remains same and constant. Yes, the techniques which are used in this research process, specifically, for example, when we talk about sampling technique, that can differ. The second learning objective is to relate purpose of research to process of research. So we have to understand that whatever the process of research is, and we should relate the research design to the research process, right? So we all know that what are the purposes of research. This is something that we have already studied in the last classes. Now, what is the learning outcome? Learning outcome is to get the complete clarity of research process and application of research in practical life. So it is important to understand that how research is important, why research is important, how to do a particular research. And if you understand this process very nicely, if you understand each and every step of the research process, which is sequential and hierarchical, so you will be able to do any kind of research in life, right? So that's why I am taking up this topic, so that you can understand the process of research, right? So now let us start with the process. Before starting with the process, let us understand the purpose, right? So this is something that we have studied in the first class of research concept. So we have basically three processes of research. The first is called as exploration or exploratory research. The second is called as description, or we can call as descriptive research. And the third one is called as causal research, right? Or uh, we can tell it as experimental research. Okay. So tell me, who is going to tell me what is exploration research? Can anybody explain what is exploration research?
Ma'am, exploration research is all about the primary function of research. We collect any fresh knowledge and
Any
any
fresh knowledge? Hmm.
yes.
Okay, very good. Anybody else who wants to explain? Anil?
Yes, ma'am. Exploratory, this type of research is not about making final conclusion, but rather gathering
Hmm.
general information about a topic, opening marketing plan और लॉन्ग टर्म बिजनेस स्ट्रेटजी टू सी एग्जांपल अगर देखा जाए तो कोरोना वायरस में अगर देखा जाए तो ये यहाँ पे किस तरह से मार्केटिंग प्लान लेकर किया जाता है.
Hmm. Okay, good. Very good, Anil. So, exploratory, as the name suggests, this is something we are doing for the first time. This is a very novel research. This is a new research. This is an area that we have never touched before. So that's why we are exploring, right? Something which has not been studied before, something which has not been researched before. So we are doing it for the first time. So it becomes a exploratory research. So gaining familiarity with the topic, discovering some of the main dimensions, and possibly planning more structured research. Okay, we know that when we move from exploratory to causal research, the research becomes more structured, right? Because in exploration we do not know even what are the variables. If we do not know the variables, we cannot design the hypothesis, right? So in exploration we are just exploring that in which direction that needs to go. For example, when coronavirus hit, this pandemic hit the world, then nobody knew that this is a viral disease, right? So earlier studies were carried out through the blood samples of the initial infected patients to find out that what this disease is all about, right? Why this is spreading so fast? What is the reason behind this virus? Then slowly and gradually people find out that okay, this is a viral disease, and this viral has a different kind of a RNA, and this is spread very easily from one person to another person, highly contagious disease. So these all things were explored slowly and gradually. Now, next comes descriptive research, which comes after preliminary study, that what we have done in exploratory, that comes descriptive research. So, what is descriptive research? The examples are given in the slide. Census Bureau's report on number of Americans, and when we talk about Census Bureau's report on total number of Indians, right? Political poll predicting who will win an election, right? So we know that we have exit polls also, and we have real counting also. So we find out that who is going to win, because we have initially explored that what will be the method of election. Now we are counting the votes. That means we know that this is the process that we have fixed. Now we are counting the votes, which becomes descriptive. In short, whenever we have explained, we have explored the basic phenomena in a particular topic, but the basic variables in a particular topic, we are understanding in detail about those topics in descriptive research. We are describing those details in the descriptive research. And finally, we have causal research or experimental research. Now, who is going to explain causal research? What is causal research?
मैम कॉजल रिसर्च ये होता है ना, अगर कोई किसी भी इन्वायरमेंट अगर सर्टेन चेंज हो जाए तो इन एग्जिस्टिंग स्टैंडर्ड प्रोडक्ट, तो उसी में ये किया जाता है। जैसे अगर देखा जाए तो अगर टेम्परेचर अगर इंक्रीज करता है तो आइसक्रीम का सेल्स जैसे आपने बताया था वो भी इंक्रीज कर देता है। जैसे अगर कोई नया अगर एडवर्टाइजिंग कैंपेन करे तो कर देता है। प्लस जैसे ब्रांडिंग इन कस्टमर लॉयल्टी, कस्टमर की लॉयल्टी क्या, उसमें ब्रांडिंग पे क्या इफेक्ट पड़ेगा, जैसे
Very good. Very good. Good, Anil. So you have understood the basic concept of causal research. So we have to remember it from the name of the research. Causal means cause and effect relationship. So here we are very specifically doing a structured kind of a research in which we are studying the relationship between two variables. For example, Anil has given us a very simple example of impact of increase in temperature of ice cream sales. Very simple example. If the temperature is going to increase, if the summers will come, definitely the ice cream sale is going to increase, right? So if we are taking the data of Jaipur, the total sales of ice cream, and we are studying the impact of temperature change on total sales of ice cream, this is an example of causal research. In the similar way, if the winter is going to come, the ice cream sales is going to go down, right? Because in winter generally you do not prefer to have ice cream, you prefer to have chai and things like hot beverages. So this is the purpose of research. We should be clear in mind that what is the purpose of research. Now tell me, in this basic concept, do we have any confusion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so now we are going to understand the process of research. Okay, now I am taking this topic because I've seen your midterm papers, and because you were making a lot of mistakes, so I thought this is the most important topic, so let's take it again. Okay, so these are the steps which are actually involved in process of research. So what are those steps? Let us take one by one. Okay, the first important thing is that these steps they remain same irrespective of what kind of research you are doing, right? In what discipline you are doing, right? In what area of a country or what area of a world you are doing, doesn't matter. This process remains same. The techniques can differ, but the process remains same. Okay. So what is the first step in the process is problem definition. Then second is literature review. Then we have hypothesis design. Then we have research design. Then we have data gathering. Then we have data processing and analysis. And then we have implications, conclusions, and recommendations. So these are the processes. This may seem difficult at this point of time, but as soon as we'll go further, you will able to understand each and every point very nicely. Okay, so let us start with the first point that is called as problem definition. So as we have studied earlier, that there are two kinds of problems, two types of problems. The first is which relate to the states of nature, and the second is the one which relates to the relationship between variables, right? So, states of the nature means you are explaining a particular phenomena, right? You are generalizing a problem, you are generally studying a problem, right? For example, you are studying COVID trends in Rajasthan in July 2021, right? So you are just studying the trends, you are just studying the nature of the problem, right? But if you are studying the impact of vaccination on recovery rate of COVID patients, right? So there are two variables. The first is impact of vaccination, and the second is recovery of corona patients. So we have two variables, right? So we are studying relationship between these two variables. Okay, so can you give me some other examples? One that relates to state of nature and one that relates to relationship between variables. I want anybody to give me one example of each. Yes, Anjali, can you try? Anjali Rathore, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give one example of each? No?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody else?
एक बार और बताइए मैम।
You have to give example of uh, I have just explained you the first point, right? What is the first point? Either the problem should relate to states of nature or it should relate to relationship between variables. So you have to give me one example of each. States of nature and relationship between
रिलेशनशिप
variables.
बिटवीन एम्प्लॉय
मैम
एम्प्लॉय और एम्प्लॉयर मैम।
Okay. And states of nature?
नेचर ऑफ
मैम
एम्प्लॉयर मैम।
Nature of employee. Okay.
मैम जैसे अगर गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर हो या प्राइवेट सेक्टर, तो ये पहली टाइप का ये हो गया गवर्नमेंट वर्सेस प्राइवेट सेक्टर, ठीक है। और दूसरी ये जैसे रिलेशन बिटवीन टू वेरिएबल, अगर अगर देखा जाए, अगर कोई फंक्शनली कोई भी चीज़ देखा जाए, जैसे अगर किसी को ये जितना उस सेकंड कर दें।
No problem. I can help you. For example, if you are studying states of nature, so you can understand or you can study the trends of employee retention in government and private offices, right? And if you are
Ma'am,
studying the relationship between the variables, then you can understand comparative study of employee retention in government and private offices. So we are comparing and we have two clear cut variables. Yes, Chandrasekhar.
ma'am, ये हो सकते का impact of COVID vaccine on um, corona COVID patient.
right? Very good. So this is an
मैम
example of second point, which is when
मैम
we are
सेकंड पॉइंट का
relating
अगर एग्जांपल
relationship,
यस।
right?
और मैम
Good,
ये
good.
जो आप बता रही हैं ये नेचर और ये क्या, ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा है।
Okay. So in the states of nature, we are explaining or explorating the trends in a particular phenomena or the method through which a particular phenomena is happening. For example, in the nature, I am giving you example. For example, trends of employee retention in private or government universities. So I'm studying the nature of employment in private and government universities. I'm not comparing any two variables. I am just studying. For example, study of the symptoms of corona patients in India. For example, studying the trends of corona in Rajasthan. So I'm studying the trends. I'm not comparing anything or I'm not studying specifically the variables. I'm just studying a general study on how corona is spreading, what are the total number, total figures of corona. But at the same time, if I am understanding or comparing the impact of vaccine on corona patients or the impact of vaccines on total number of corona patients in a particular state, if I'm comparing these two data, it becomes the second point, which is relate to the relationship between the variables.
मैम ये जो फर्स्ट है जो नेचर वाला है उसमें हम लोग सिर्फ मतलब एक किसी विदाउट वेरिएबल पे हम उस पे रिसर्च कर रहे हैं।
Right? Either or we can study the relationship between the variables. Next is understanding the problem thoroughly and rephrasing the same into meaningful analytical way. Okay, so meaningful analytical way means whenever you are clear with your research problem, it is very important to rephrase it into a meaningful way, so that whenever a reader is reading that research problem, it is very clear in his mind that what kind of research you are going to do, right? So that is called as rephrasing the same into a meaningful way, right? I have given you an example also. Let's go to that slide in which an example is written. So here is an example of a problem statement, right? So what is the problem statement? Problem statement is retention strategy of high potential employees with reference to government and private universities of Shekhawati belt and Jaipur district, right? So what are we studying? We are very specifically rephrase the problem. The basic problem is, the basic research problem is that we are studying the retention strategy, right? This is the basic problem. We are studying the retention strategy. What is retention strategy? Whatever strategies you are applying to retain employees in an organization, that is called as retention strategy, right? So what are we studying? Retention strategy of high potential employees. That means the people who are generating high revenues for the organization with reference to government and private universities of Shekhawati belt and Jaipur district. So we are very clearly mentioning the location also, that we are studying not all the universities, but in Rajasthan we are going to understand the universities of Shekhawati and Jaipur. So this is how you should frame your research problem, which should be to the point, very specific, and it should be self-explanatory, right? So this is how you have to design a problem. Now, if it may seems difficult to you, that's why I have given you assignment to read a research paper, to read as many research paper as possible. It is very simple to find out a research paper. You just have to Google it, right? For example, your area of interest is promotional strategies in marketing. So just write down promotional strategies in marketing dash research paper. You will get thousands of research paper. So if you will read the problem statement or the heading or the title of the research paper, you will get an idea on how do you, as a researcher, can conduct your research. It will provide you a direction. Okay. Now let's go to the next slide. Objectives of study. See, this point is very important because whatever thing you do in this world should have a reason behind it, right? So in the same way, if you are doing a very important activity, and that activity is that you are doing a particular research, it is very important to make people understand that what is your basic aims or objectives behind doing a particular study. So what is your basic aim or objective? Your basic aim is to compare staff retention strategies in Shekhawati Belt and Jaipur district of government of and private universities, to establish the effectiveness of staff retention strategies, right? So whatever letters which are written in red, they are highlighted in red. If you will read that, it will make you easy for you to understand, right? So we are comparing the staff retention strategies and policies of government and private universities. We are studying the effectiveness, means how successful they are in implementing those staff retention strategies. We are studying how they can improve the staff retention strategies. We can examine the challenges what these organizations are facing when they are doing an effort to retain the employee, to recommend the measures to mitigate the staff retention challenges. Okay, so this is what the basic motive of the study is. Okay, so the first point is what? Problem definition. Problem definition is very important because in problem definition, you are understanding a problem and you are rephrasing the problem into a meaningful way. Point number two, from the problem definition, you have to write down the basic aim of the study. For example, let me give you another example. You are studying the impact of COVID vaccines, say COVID Shield, okay, on patients of Rajasthan. You are studying this. This is your research problem. Rajasthan, in Rajasthan patients, you are studying that what is the impact of vaccines on people or citizens of Rajasthan. This is your basic motive. Now, what will be the objectives of your study? You will study, your objective can be to compare the effectiveness of COVID Shield and Covaxin, right? To understand the side effects of COVID Shield in patients, to understand the recovery rate, uh, of patients, and to understand that how this vaccine is going to be helpful for the patients. This will be your objectives of study. That means this will be your basic aim of the study, right? So till now we are studying only the first step, which is objective of the study, and sorry, problem definition. And in this problem definition, we have understood that there are two types of problems. First, which is related to nature of the problem, and the second, which is related to relationship between the variables, right? So your research problem can be either of the two. Next point that we have understood is you have to rephrase the research problem in a meaningful way. And the next step that we have studied is you have to write down the objectives of the study. Okay. Now, very quickly, we will move to the next point, which is called as literature review. So, who is going to explain literature review? What is literature review? Yes, Anil.
मैम, गोइंग थ्रू द लिटरेचर व्हिच इज ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट, व्हाट वी स्टडी, मतलब किसी लिटरेचर के थ्रू हम लोग जाएंगे और उसमें क्या पढ़ना है, क्या लिखा, उसके बारे में हम लोग जानेंगे। लिटरेचर के रिव्यू, मतलब
Okay, okay, very good. So that is called as literature review. That means studying or doing a study, a detailed study on a literature which is already available relating to your topic, connected to your topic, is called as literature review. If you are doing a study on promotional strategies in marketing, then you will study everything in the literature which is related to promotion, right? If you are doing a study on employee retention, you will do all the literature which is available in the market, uh, which is related to employee retention. So, can you suggest me some sources of literature from where can we find the literature on a particular field or area? Where to go to find that literature? What are the sources?
Google, ma'am.
मैम देयर इज ओनली गूगल ड्राइव, विकिपीडिया,
Google, Wikipedia, and
वेबसाइट वगैरह जो आपने
मैम इन्वेस्टोपीडिया, विकिपीडिया, ये सब वेबसाइट्स हैं वहाँ पे।
Right. Right. Google, it is a very casual and easy method of finding a literature. But when you talk specifically, you have to please, you can visit library. In library, we have a lot of research journals. We have a lot of management research journals. So you can check the index of that management journals, and you can find out if any topic is related to your area of research. Point number one. Point number two, there are various online websites which publish research papers. For example, researchgate.com, researchmonkey.com. Then we have shodhganga.com, right? So these are some specific websites through which you can study the literature. Apart from that, I always recommend that you should try and find out the most authentic sources of data. For example, if you want some data, it is advisable to take data from Indian Statistical Organization. There is a website of Indian Statistical Organization where you will find some kind of statistics data which is public to everybody. You can find it, right? You go to Rajasthan government website. If you're doing a research in a healthcare, go to the healthcare website of Rajasthan government. Go to the healthcare website of Indian government. So there you will find some authentic data, right? So source of data is also important. From where you are taking the data should be authentic. After literature review, see, in literature review also I've shown you this diagram, that this is how you represent a literature review in a very effective way, right? Always make a table instead of writing a paragraph in the literature review. Make a table, and in this table write down in detail that what papers you have studied. For example, it can be in anything. It can be a newspaper reading, it can be whatever you said, Wikipedia or Google, or uh, it can be a magazine, it can be a newspaper article, it can be a Facebook post, anything that you are applying to, right? A Facebook post, but that should be from an authentic source, right? If you are taking a Facebook post from Indian government website or from the Prime Minister's official page, that's okay, you can take it. So you have to write serial number. Topic of the study means the research problem. Topic and research and title. These things are something which are similar, right? So you have to write the topic of the study. After that, you have to write the name of the researcher. You have to write the reference sources. You have to write the topic and conclusion of study, right? How will you write topic and conclusion of study? After reading the paper, you will get a complete idea of what that paper is telling you. What are the basic conclusions and recommendations which are given in a particular paper? So that you will be able to understand if you read the paper nicely, if you read the full paper, right? So that is called as literature review. Okay. Now next, move to working hypothesis, development of working hypothesis. So what is hypothesis? I've already explained you. Please tell me, what is hypothesis?
Ma'am, hypothesis is all about assuming anything about anything. We,
Assuming anything.
yes ma'am, किसी भी चीज के बारे में
मैम
assume करना कि क्या।
मैम hypothesis is a process where we can imagine anyone and we started working on that. That is a hypothesis.
Rahul.
Hypothetically process.
Good. Good. Rahul,
यस मैम।
you were saying
मैम
something?
यस मैम, हम हाइपोथेसिस किसी को भी काम करने से एक अनुमान लगाता है पहले ही से, कुछ ये करना है मुझे।
Right. Very good.
थैंक यू।
So, as a researcher, we have to forecast that what can be the results of my research. You have to assume, you have to make a tentative assumption of what is going to happen at the end of the research. That is called as hypothesis. Whatever assumption you make, whatever forecast you make, whatever things you keep in your mind before starting the research, that is called as hypothesis. So there are some things that you need to understand in hypothesis, that there are basically two types of hypothesis. The first is called as null hypothesis, and the second is called as alternative hypothesis. We have also one term which is called as working hypothesis, right? So when I talk about working hypothesis, Working hypothesis only gives you an idea of relationship between two variables, right? It gives you an idea about two variables, that these are the two variables in your study, right? If you want to design a hypothesis, you should have a clear cut idea of what are the variables in your study. Because if you don't know what are the variables in your study, you are not going to make a hypothesis. It is impossible. You cannot do it, right? So you should be very clear in the variables of your study. Okay. So in working hypothesis, we are just mentioning that these are the variables. Now, what is null hypothesis? We all know what is null hypothesis.
Ma'am, hypothesis is a hypothesis where the we can influence the number of person there is zero. That is null hypothesis.
We can influence the number that is zero. Okay.
मैम दैट पर्सन मतलब किसी को ये इन्फ्लुएंस नहीं कर पाएंगे उसमें से, मतलब एक भी आदमी को नहीं, तो दैट इज नल हाइपोथेसिस.
Okay. Anybody else?
जो मैम किसी का सटीक आइडिया नहीं दे पाता है मैम, किसी को करने से कोई अनुमान नहीं लगा पाता क्या करना है या कैसे किसी को करना है.
Okay. Yes, Chandrasekhar.
Yes, ma'am. Unstructured information about anything.
Unstructured information. Okay. But I'm not getting the answer that I'm looking for. Okay. So,
Ma'am,
Aditya.
ma'am, in this hypothesis, we can't assume, we can't predict, or here, this is the given example, population don't have any influence on the number of bank or branch. Because population don't find the number of branches.
Okay.
Ma'am, null hypothesis is a typical statistical theory which suggests that no statistical relationship between two variables that is significance exists is a set of given scenarios.
Right. Good, Anil. You are very close. Thank you, Aditya, Chandrasekhar, Rahul, Anil. You are very close. But let me tell you, please listen to me carefully, whatever I am saying. See, what is null hypothesis? Null hypothesis has zero probability of happening in the real life, right? Whatever factors we negate from the research, we do not want to study, or we are already separating that concept out from the research, that is called as null hypothesis. Okay, this cannot happen. The probability of happening this is zero, right? So that is called as null hypothesis. When we know that these are my two variables and this is one thing that cannot happen, that is null hypothesis. Okay. So what is null hypothesis? Here the two variables are population and the total number of bank branches. Okay. So if I ask you a question, where in which city the bank branches will be more, in Jaipur or in Mumbai? Jaipur or Mumbai? Tell me. In which city the total number of branches will be more?
Mumbai.
Why?
Mumbai.
Can't say.
Why?
Mumbai is big city.
Mumbai is big city. Big city means high population, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
so what are the two variables? Population and the total number of bank branches. अब देखिए, what is null hypothesis? Population do not have any influence on the number of bank branches in a town. Can this happen? Yes, this can happen.
Yes,
This is
ma'am.
null hypothesis, right? This is null hypothesis. It cannot happen. Population definitely has an impact on total number of bank branches. If the population is more bank branches are more. If the population is less, bank branches are less. We know that, right? And that's what we are studying. So what is alternate hypothesis? Population has significant impact on the number of branches in a town. So this is called as alternative hypothesis. Whatever you are forecasting becomes your alternative hypothesis. Whatever you are negating from the research, that becomes your null hypothesis. The basic two variables are mentioned in your working hypothesis. Okay. So if we have any confusion till now, we can ask.
मैम नल हाइपोथेसिस को इजी वे में क्या कहेंगे मैम, कि मतलब
null hypothesis we can easy way में हम बोल सकते हैं it's like a zero hypothesis. It's like something we are negating, we are totally avoiding, we know that this cannot happen. So there is a positive side in research and there is a negative side in research. So we are negating that negative side. And through the statistical techniques, we are trying to prove the alternate hypothesis and we are going to reject the null hypothesis. Right? Whatever data we will collect, definitely the data will say that the population has impact on total number of bank branches. So that ways we are going to reject this null hypothesis and we are going to accept the alternative hypothesis. Let me give you one another example, a very simple example, right? For example, you are watering the plants and plant is growing, right? So what are the two variables? Watering the plants and growth of plants. These are the two variables. So what will be the null hypothesis? That watering of plant has no impact on growth of plant. Can this happen? If I am giving a proper
No, no.
sunlight, प्रॉपर मैन्योर प्रॉपर सॉइल सब कुछ है तो ऐसा हो सकता है ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है तो वो क्या है तो वो है नल हाइपोथेसिस
Okay,
राइट
ma'am.
so and what is alternate hypothesis that the watering of plant has significant impact on the growth of plant ऐसा हो सकता है ऐसा मैं सोच रही हूँ एज अ रिसर्चर कि ऐसा हो सकता है so this is called as alternative hypothesis right so these are all about hypothesis. Now the next point is research design. So research design is basically a systematic blueprint of what kind of research that you are going to do. For example, what kind of sampling techniques you are going to use, what kind of statistical techniques you are going to use, what will be the time frame of your research, that means in how much time you are going to end this research. These all things are very important in research design. So it is basically what is going to happen in your research process. Sampling design, we have studied, there are lots of sampling design. So what kind of sampling design you are going to use, right? That depends on you as a researcher and the kind of topic you have chosen, right? Next is observational design, conditions under which you are making observation. If at all you are making observation, what are the conditions under which you are making observation? Then we have statistical design, that means how you are going to collect the data, whether you are going to collect the data through questionnaire, through schedules, through surveys, right? That we are going to understand in the next classes in the data chapter, that how we are going to collect the data. And finally, we have operational design, techniques specified in operational means whatever day to day activity you are going to do. That means time to time you have to mention. For example, when you do a PhD, you give a time frame that in the first 6 months I am going to do literature review. In the next 6 months I am going to go for data collection. In the next 2 months I am going to go for statistical analysis. These kind of time frame or day to day activities will come in your operational design. So overall research design is like a architecture or it is like a blueprint of how you are going to go about your research. What are you going to do in your research, right? Because research is not something that happens in one day. It takes time, right? A PhD research sometimes takes 6 years of time, 10 years of time, right? So you have to make a plan. You have to decide that what thing, when you are going to do and by which technique you are going to do. That is research design. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the next point is data gathering. Now, data gathering is very important because, as I've already told you, that primary data is very important, right? If you do and if you use secondary data, that's okay, but primary data is very important. So, how do you collect primary data, whether you use interview method or questionnaire method or schedule method or survey method? What is the method of using data is also important, and why sampling is important, because as I've already told you that census inquiry is not possible, right? Census inquiry means going for an inquiry that uh, that include each and every person in the population is very difficult. It is very time consuming. Okay, so that's why it is not possible. Okay, so now we will solve some questions, some MCQs, and you have to answer when I will ask you to, right? So the first question is, this research is a method that collects data using conversational method. Conversational method means I'm using maybe most probably interview method. Then what kind of technique is this? Tell me. What is the answer? Aditya, what is the answer? Aditya Kumar,
Quantitative.
A or B?
B.
Good, very good. Right, so quantitative is the answer. Next question. I hope it is visible to you.
ये क्वालिटेटिव होगा ये 112.
Okay. It is concerned with subjective assessment of attitudes, opinions, and behavior. So, what will be the answer? When we are assessing the attitudes, behavior, and opinion of a person?
Qualitative, ma'am.
Very
क्वालिटेटिव
good. So, qualitative will be the answer. Answer is B. Please mute yourself. There is a lot of noise coming. Okay. So, the next question is one-to-one interview. So, interview is what kind of a method?
Ma'am,
Qualitative.
A,
Qualitative.
right? A is the answer. Qualitative. Very good. Next question is, which one of the following is true about the focus group? So these are the four sentences. A small group comprising of around 2 participants who are expert in a subject matter. Focus groups are not used in research. C is moderators' experience in conducting the focus group do not play an important role. And D is a moderator is assigned to a focus group who facilitates the discussion among the group members. So which is the correct answer?
ए मैम ए स्मॉल ग्रुप
A.
Yes, ma'am.
B.
Anil is saying D. Okay. Anybody else who wants to answer this question?
A में
A. Everybody goes for A.
Yes, ma'am. A.
The answer is D. The right answer is D, right? A moderator is assigned in a focus group who facilitates and discuss among the group members. So the right answer is D, because in focus group it is basically a technique in which experts are gathered. One moderator is there. He helps the people to discuss and answer a particular question. Okay. So thank you so much for joining. I am ending the recording now.